Have you ever felt like you've lost your inspiration in photography? Well, that's what this video is about. Here are a number of different things to try. 7 different ways to help you find inspiration once again. And maybe one of these is all it will take for you to get fired up again, or maybe you'll need to do more than one to get your groove back. In any case, don't stress or worry or think something's wrong. Know that every photographer, every writer, every painter, every poet, every sculptor, you name it, they all go through this. So here it is. Number 1, shoot anyway, even when uninspired. There's so much that's been written on the creative process, and many say the same thing, that being inspired isn't a brilliant flash that just happens when you follow the muse. Most of the time, it's a grind, and you just keep moving through it anyway. And the inspiration will come in unexpected times, but always when you are just doing the work in the first place. So it's possible, you just need to keep shooting and you'll come out the other side. Number 2, conversely, it might be worth taking a break, but don't go too long. How long? Well, I think you'll know. But here's the kicker. When you do take a break, don't stop doing creative things altogether. Replace one thing with something else. Paint or draw pictures, or write a poem, or sculpt, or play the trumpet. Try that for a while and then get back to taking pictures and see what that does for you. Replace one creative process with a different creative process. Now here's an important note. For number 2, for this one to work, you need to do another creative process every single day, not just nibble at it. Number 3, shake up what tools you're using. Now, for me, this one is really effective. This one works really well. Use a different camera than what you have been using. So if you've been shooting a digital camera, maybe get a film camera and start shooting a few rolls here and there. Even a simple point and shoot will do the trick. 3 of my favorite point and shoot cameras are Contax T2, Yashica T4, and Olympus XA. So you're going to shake up the equipment you're using. Maybe if you don't want to get a film camera, maybe switch out a lens and use a lens that you're not used to. Or if you don't want to get a film camera, get an entirely different system altogether. So if you're used to a DSLR, maybe borrow someone's mirrorless camera. Just mix up what you are used to shooting. Number 4, find photographs you love and try and replicate that image as best you can. Obviously, this is just an exercise. You're not going to pass this off as your own. This is just to get you out of this creative rut. And when you're looking at one of those images that you want to copy, some of the things that you'll want to pay attention to in the original is what camera is being used. Is it film or digital? How is it lit? Is it lit with artificial light or natural light? And if it's artificial light, how many different light sources? And what lens was used when the image was shot? What was the background? How close was the photographer to the subject? You get the idea. You're going to copy the image as close as you can to the original. This is what will teach you what other photographers have done to solve particular problems, and it may open you up to a totally new style or an aesthetic that you didn't know that you'd even want to tackle. Number 5. And this I've mentioned before. I've mentioned this a lot, as a matter of fact, but the idea is to look at the work of other photographers. And not just any photographer. I'm not saying mindlessly scroll through Instagram. You're going to want to look at photographers who are the big guns and who have shaped the medium, and that in 50 years from now, we'll still be looking at their work. Elliott Erwitt, Diane Arbus, Sally Mann, Irving Penn, Robert Frank, Lee Friedlander, Ryan McGinley, Alec Soth, Stephen Shore, Larry Fink, Rodney Smith, Mary Ellen Mark. Those are some of my favorites. Now don't just scratch at the surface when you're looking at these pictures. Really dig in and spend a good amount of time looking at each image and ask yourself how you feel when you look at the picture. Ask yourself what you'd do differently. And when you're analyzing an image you particularly love, ask why? Why do you like that image? What about the picture moves you? Now find a picture you hate and ask yourself why it has any effect on you at all. Also, see if you can figure out how the picture was made and what are the clues in the image that let you know. Number 6, take pictures and promise yourself you'll never show a single one of them to anyone. One thing that happens is we start to put too much pressure on ourselves to arrive at a certain outcome, and it shuts us down creatively. Well, how would that change if you knew that no one would ever see the pictures, no matter how insipid or no matter how inspired? And then it just becomes an exercise in doing the thing and not trying to land somewhere specific. Trust me, you'll feel liberated. You'll feel free to do whatever the heck you want. You can take blurry pictures. You can take out of focus pictures. You can take poorly framed pictures. You can take overexposed pictures. No one cares, and that should include you. Number 7, come up with a very narrow subject matter. Find something near your house or your yard, something that you can return to every day. Stop taking pictures of everything else except that one thing. Let's, for example, say that it's a bike in the backyard. For the next week or two, do not take pictures of anything except for that bike. What's going to happen is that on day 1, you're going to take the most obvious pictures, the easy ones that are the first that you think of. The next day, you'll come up with something that you didn't think of the day before, and there will be a lot of bad pictures, but you'll get a couple keepers. Now, it's on day 5 when things really get challenging, because how do you take different pictures of the same thing over and over again? Well, that's what you're going to find out. But you choose maybe different times of day or different angles. Thinking of the bike example, you place the bike in different locations. Maybe different people are sitting on it. Work through as many possibilities as you can. But like I said, stop putting pressure on yourself to feel like you're supposed to be taking certain kinds of pictures or be at a certain level or be doing a certain amount every day. Relax. Photography is supposed to be fun. So go back to finding the joy of photography, that thing that led you to it in the first place, and know that this feeling of being uninspired, this is temporary. You'll come back to loving photography and finding new ways to get you fired up. I know you can do this. Now, I've talked about 7 ways that you could find inspiration, but maybe you've got one that's worked for you in the past. If that's the case, leave it in the comments and let me know what's worked for you. I'm always open to new ideas and possibilities for breakthroughs. And thanks for watching. Number 20, eat way more peach rings.